Welcome everyone to our One World Energy Encounter with the Zohar. This week we're in the portion of Pekudei um, in our Zohar. It's volume 13, and we are at paragraph number 61. Let's begin by inviting in the Kabbalistic lineage of the Rav and Karen Michael, Rabbi Shlag, Rabbi Brandwein, the Ria Kodesh, the Ramchal, Rabbi Tarfon, Rav Rama Mizulai, Rabbi Menachem Mendel of Vitebsk, Rav Kalon Shapir Piasetzna, the Baal Shem Tov, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and all the students, Rabbi Mordechai of Chernobyl, One Soul with Yosef Tzaddik in Shechem. As we connect to these verses, no matter where we are in the world, we want to be thinking about the upper realm, the level of Binah, the flawless universe, the realm where all of our fulfillment exists. And so as we connect to that realm through these verses, we want to channel the energy of healing for the world and healing for all the individuals that we know, also the healing for everyone in the world, also the energy of ending the wars in the world, specifically in Russia and Ukraine, also in Israel, the safe release of all the hostages, energy of assistance to those souls who are transitioning, also the energy of Ahavat Chinam, unconditional love, treating everyone in the world with human decency, and energy of protection from negativity, protection from evil eye, protection from evil speech. And, as we elevate our consciousness through these verses, we also want to try and maintain that elevated consciousness throughout our ongoing challenges and opportunities that life provides us with, which is a tie-in to this section. Okay, beginning with verse 61. Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chizkiah, Habo Yat Din V'La'an Be'oraita. Amar Le, Rabbi Chizkiah, Rabbi Abba. Hai chamenan dekutra brichu itrei bedina bechola lit arva da beda veihu arich dina bechayave alma ihu itrei bedina amai salikle mechayavaya amarle kama turin it akrun b'milada abal kama milin gale butzina kadisha behai. Owen.
Rabbi Abba and Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Chizkiah were sitting and studying the Torah. Rabbi Chizkiah said to Rabbi Abba, "Indeed, we see that the Holy One, blessed be He, desires to have judgment upon everything. So the two will mix together."
Okay, so yes, judgment and mercy. Okay, so we have three of the students of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai studying Torah. So what exactly does that mean? What does it mean that they're studying Torah? I mean, is it just that they are? It's a scholarly undertaking. So I think the first takeaway from this, and this is a common misconception, especially among newer students, is like for those of us who like went to high school and college and whatever and got specialty degrees, we have some ideas as to what scholarship is. Learning a lot of facts and probably learning how to apply those facts to different situations. And so you might come across this verse and think, well, these students of Rabbi Shimon were just scholars, like everyone else, scholars throughout history. Why not? Isn't that what we're doing right now? Aren't we just studying Torah? Aren't we just scholars like this has gone on for centuries? And we're not. I mean, we are at some level, but at another level, we're not. We're literally trying to change the world. We're literally trying to, and we say this when we talk about consciousness beforehand and where we set our intention. It's like where we set our intention is the seed level of what results we will experience. And so with every study, we want to set, and we always do this, we speak about where we want our consciousness to be, because we want to be very clear that we're setting our intention to better the world, to remove negativity, energy of healing, energy of ending war, energy of avat chinam, unconditional love for the world, of treating everyone with human decency. These are things we talk about all the time. And so when these Torah scholars are sitting down to study Torah, it's not about just them learning a lot of interesting facts. No. Their interesting facts will come out in the context of what they're doing. It's about them connecting to the upper realm, connecting to the flawless universe, and channeling that energy into our world. And that's why the study of Zohar is so important, because the study of Zohar, the letters, the actual Aramaic, is infused with that energy. So part of what we always want to do is set our intention. When we read a section where these rabbis are getting together to study, it's about they're setting their intention also. And so we're piggybacking on the intention that they set through their consciousness and raising their consciousness to raise the consciousness of the whole world. If the whole world raised its consciousness, the world would not be experiencing the pain and suffering that it is. And so our first opportunity is for us in this study to also channel the energy of peace on earth, of treating everyone with human decency, to remove this negativity from the world. It's a really powerful section and a really powerful way for us to set our intention as we do this study, like we do all of our studies. Okay, so that's just them sitting down and studying Torah. And what is it that they first are connecting to? Well, it's this idea that the Creator, expressed as the Holy One, blessed be He, desires to have judgment upon everything. In other words, it sounds like He's desiring judgment. Now, Rabbi Schlag comes along and says in the text, judgment and mercy, meaning that there be a balance of judgment and mercy. Why doesn't it just say mercy? Why isn't that the Creator is desirous of mercy? Why do we have to have the judgment there? I'll leave it as a hanging question.
I would say, do you want to respond?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so the world was designed with judgment and mercy, as it says. The judgment is if you will, a check and balance for us as individuals that are going to fail. And it says, I know otherwhere in text in the Torah, is if the Creator didn't have mercy, then the world would essentially been, and I don't know what the right word is, ruled by judgment.
Not survived.
And we would not, exactly, we would not survive. So
Absolutely.
that it's actually the system, again, designed to help us ultimately do our part for reaching Mashiach.
Right. Okay. So let's a very important point. This is being designed with a conclusion in mind, which is the manifestation of the flawless universe in our world, the death of death, bila mavel netzach, the removal of all pain and suffering. That's the goal, right? Let's continue. Let's see how we deconstruct the journey on towards that goal. Ellen?
Nevertheless, He withholds judgment from the wicked of the world. Why? If He is desirous of judgment, remove it from evil.
Yeah, wait a second. Like, He's desirous. Nevertheless, He withholds judgment for the evil. Well, why aren't the evil being judged? We have a world with judgment. Why does it seem like people who do negative things continue on to do negative things? I mean, we're seeing it right now. This is going on in the world. Why does the Creator allow this to happen? So this is like a huge philosophical question which has been debated over the ages, and we're delving into a Kabbalistic perspective on this. And
Can I kind of interject here?
please,
I'm not sure if it was Michael Berg's book, The Consciousness, or if I read it in the growth of through the Torah, but it speaks about judgment and how God determines judgment. Why does God not remove the evil of the world? And I was thinking about it in terms of, and I'm not going to call any names, but in terms of this election that's going on, right? And I was asking myself, why is God allowing the evil of some of this to happen? And it said, and I can't remember, I just read it last week too. It said that God's, the way, I think it was Rob Aslak or something, said, said that the way that God judges is why God will not remove judgment of evil unless, I guess I interpret it as the masses. We have so many people that's into the evilness of it all, right? So why would I remove the evil when everything around it is encouraging it? I'll remove it when the masses, it's like, don't, if I can find 10 people that are good people, then I'll save it. But if not, then get the hell out, right? And
get out of the
God's
way.
way of judging and balancing is through the masses of how many people are really following this and believing it. As long as you believe it, it's going to be there. So a man thinketh, so a man is.
You raise, I mean, listen.
That, then God can make the judgment for the sake of the whole based upon this. It's different. It's a different type of judgment.
Well, you raise a bunch of great questions. The one question I want to bring up is you reminding us of Sodom and Gomorrah. I mean, it was a very negative place, and the Creator does execute judgment on that town. That's why He tells Lot to get out, and Lot's trying to save because he's like, I mean, maybe there's some good people there, but in that case, the Creator doesn't hold back the judgment. So, like, we have examples where judgment runs amok. And there's plenty of examples where judgment does run amok. But that was a situation where the Creator destroyed that city. But I don't really see that in modern.
How about Noah? Noah's Ark?
Noah's another example where the Creator executed judgment. But we don't really see that now. We see a lot of negativity running around. So the question is why? And we're going to get into the answer, but let's see. Let's be a little patient about it. Get Ellen. Well, I'm saying let's be patient, but the next line is, go ahead.
Namely, why is He so patient?
Yeah, why is the Creator so patient? Go ahead.
He said to him, how many mountains, wise men, have been uprooted by this, not knowing the true meaning thereof?
Yes, in other words, how many mountains, and in this case, mountains refers to not physical mountains, but people of great stature, wise men, elevated, people with very elevated consciousness about the world. This has undone them. In other words, people see negativity and say, what kind of God is this, if there is one at all? I mean, we see that happening in the world all the time throughout history. There are plenty of examples of people who see situations. Listen, people emerged from the Holocaust and said, obviously, there's no God. God wouldn't have allowed this to happen. It's just one example. Okay, keep going.
But the Holy Luminary revealed several things concerning this matter.
Okay, so there is wisdom that's been revealed to assist us in understanding this in a deeper way. Verse 62. V'tachazeh dina de kuchabrichu itrebe ihu dina barir ihu dina diit ar rechimu v'chedva aval chayabaya kad inun be'alma kulu dina bezu ama Kulu dina dala itra'e be kuchavichu. Klal. The alda la ba'eli it arva dina kadisha bedina mis'ava dezuama. Ad the EU should say the migarme. Ulovada le min alma date. Vahu dina bezuama deve ihu ovid le me alma. Before we read the English, I just want to share two things. One is we're thinking about this like globally. We see evil in the world. You know, Rocky's like, you know, in the politics, it's crazy, crazy evil. It's like I just want to throw out the question, and that is that our political leaders are not ethical and moral people. They may present themselves in that way, but that's not the job. I think, objectively, it's a different job when you're leading a nation from a political standpoint. Politics is politics. I mean, you know, it's like my favorite political joke. How do you know when a politician is lying? They're moving their lips. That's the nature of that job. Like if you want to go into politics, just consider you're not going to be able to live authentically. These are not people who show up authentically. That's not the job. It's no different than an actor. Or perhaps an actor is a bit more authentic because they're trying to tap into something within them to portray a role for entertainment purposes. But politicians, that's not their agenda. But that aside, let's just think about this. We think about evil, and we think about what goes on in the world, and we see a lot of bad actors and a lot of bad situations and a lot of very negative political systems that really create a lot of chaos. There is that, no question. But on an individual level, we individually are impacted by negativity all the time. We're impacted by negative thoughts. We're impacted by the pain that we experience. So I want to share two things that we're all probably familiar with at one point, but another, it's kind of a theme I feel that runs through this, and that is apparently one of the best ways to deal with your pain is to sit with your pain, is to be with your pain. In other words, when we are confronted with negativity, we want to run away from it. It's human nature to run away from it. It's human nature to self-medicate. It's human nature to just distract ourselves, whether it's with, you know, we see it all the time with drugs, with alcohol, with shopping, with whatever, to do things that enable us to avoid that negativity, to not feel that pain. But it doesn't go away. It's the only way for us to remove that negativity is to process it. And to process it, we actually have to confront it. We have to be with it. On the one hand. On the other hand, apparently, the more we talk about our negativity, the more negative it gets. The more, I mean, if we stay in it too much and talk about it too much and think about it too much, it brings us down. It's a balancing act. And this is what I believe the Zohar is telling us. I mean, our teachers say this all the time, about what is the balance between judgment and mercy. It's just how we do, even at an individual level. Yeah, we have negativity. Yes, we have things we have to deal with, but we also have to be kind to ourselves. So to a certain degree, we have to sit with it, sit with those feelings and allow them to process. And on the other hand, we have to also move on. It's like we need to accomplish both. And this is what we talk about when we mean we're balancing both judgment and mercy. Not only is the universe doing that in our world, but we, with our free will, have the ability to do that for ourselves. We want to be with the pain. We want to be with the challenges. And at the same time, we don't want to let that bring us down. Aran, I see your hands up. Or is that
I'm with Yair right now. I just wanted to share something about that, what you just said. And so yeah, in certain ways, you can't transform anything that you're not willing to face. Like, you can't like, so like being with the pain is definitely something. It's like that's how the pain goes away, right? Because what you resist persists, and it keeps going. But I also hear in what you said is that when you keep talking about your negativity, there's like the intention of transforming that negativity, right? Like when you're actually acknowledging that you have this negativity, it's like with the intention of working on it and through it versus just indulging in it, which keeps it going.
Yes, very well said. It's a balance. It's like to a
Mhm.
certain degree, when we're sitting with that negativity, we're trying to inject mercy into that situation. Like being with it in a very merciful way, in a way that's being kind to ourselves. I mean, this is a level of self-care also. But yeah, thank you for that. Okay, the English to 62, Ellen.
He opened the discussion and said, when the wicked sprout like grass.
Wait a
and
second,
when-
that's 60.
You're
that's
on the
63.
63. You want
Go back
62.
one more. Come and see.
Come and see. The judgment that the Holy One, blessed be He, is desirous of is a clear judgment that stirs love and joy, namely the judgment of the left column after joining the right column to become the secret of the wine that makes glad Elohim and men, and is also the secret of gold.
Okay, so kind of along the lines of what we talked about, we're looking at the left column and right column. And what we mean by that, of course, we know left column is judgment, right column is mercy. So we're talking about this blend of judgment and mercy. And Ron, can you hit pause for a second? Okay, so again, it's this blend between right column and left column, mercy and judgment. And this is a huge Kabbalistic idea. You know, and so we see it in this context also of the way the world is wired. In other words, like the more we know about the way the world is wired, the better able we are to navigate. It's no different than, like, let's say you want to sail around the world, which is getting a lot of publicity of late. Like, you need to know what you're going to be navigating. I don't, so I'm not going to attempt to sail around the world. But if you're going to sail around, you really need to know, like, what kind of seas you're going to encounter, what kind of weather you're going to encounter, what can potentially go wrong, what kind of fail safes I need, what kind of backup do I need. So part of the way in which we Kabbalistically are looking at the world is, I want to navigate life in a healthier way. And in order for us to do that, the more we know about how the world is wired, the better we are able to navigate the things that come up, and the better we are able to channel positivity into the world. Because we're going to encounter negativity. And we need the tools to navigate that. And so part of knowing how the world is wired is knowing that there's a right column and a left column. And so what Rav Shlag adds here, well, actually, what the Zohar is saying, that stirs love, and in other words, the judgment of the Holy One, blessed be He, is desirous of, is a clear judgment that stirs love and joy. Where in the context of judgment is there love and joy? Where do we, where is that?
Discernment.
Okay, in what sense?
You know, just like when we say Virgos are able to see, when you apply it in a very positive way, judgment enables us to see things more clearly if we aren't then being judgmental, aren't putting negativity into it. We're getting a chance to, you know, and again, David, if I may quickly transition, but the same idea. No, because when it said become the secret of the wine that makes glad Elohim, makes me think, right, we put the water in the wine to balance judgment and mercy. But what it also makes me think, because right now we're getting ready for, and we've been studying for Purim, is we drink wine, and the main reason that we are, it is suggested, right, to drink too much, is that what we're doing is we're getting rid of the proverbial mask, but what we're doing is actually seeing things clearly. We're getting rid of all of our own filters, all of our own judgment. I mean, that's what this is. You know, it's so beautiful here because it's happening right. The energy is here right now.
Right. It's a great example. It's also the paradox of like the masks that we wear. We want to remove those masks. We want to break through certain limiting thoughts, certain limiting mindsets. It's like the paradox of like, because Purim, which is this week, you know, we do masquerade. We put on costumes. It's like a paradox of when I put on a mask, I actually remove the mask I wear every day. I can be anything behind that mask. When I'm not wearing a mask, I'm showing up like the world expects me to. When I'm in costume and I'm not recognizable, I can really be a truer version of myself, a more authentic version of myself. And so like that whole experience is designed to give us the opportunity to recognize the masks that we're wearing, to recognize the ways in which we're showing up in life in a less authentic way. And the reason that's important is because each one of us has a spark of the creator that we're supposed to manifest, which is the best version of ourselves. But we get hung up on a whole host of things. And so the combination of the wine and the masquerade and the other things that we're doing on Purim is an opportunity for us to really connect to our more authentic self and live a more authentic life. And you're right, it's discernment. It's also appreciation. Another aspect of left column, we call it judgment, but it's also appreciation. It's like taking a step back and appreciating the blessings that I have, which is, again, to your point, another level of discernment. What do you suppose the secret of gold is? There's a paradox in gold. Gold has got great value, and you know, it makes great jewelry, also makes for strong teeth, apparently. Gold is really, you know, is one of those minerals that is we see it all over. It's used all over. It also happens to represent left column energy. So it's a paradox. It's left column, it's judgment, but it's valuable and beautiful. So it is very paradoxical in its nature. By the way, if gold is left column, silver is right column, brass is central column. And we saw over the past several portions, and we see it in this portion also, when there's a description of the building of the tabernacle. Some things are in gold, some things in silver, some things are a blend, or a braid, or a mix. That's not just simply for purposes of beautification. That's because this is the way the world is wired. It's wired with right and left column. And so, again, our ability to see the deeper reality gives us a deeper appreciation for the way the world is wired and a better ability to navigate and also understand what's going on. Okay, continue.
But the wicked, when in the world, are under judgment of defilement, the judgment which the Holy One, blessed be He, does not want at all.
Okay, so here's the thing. There are a lot of wicked people in the world. That's what the Zohar is telling us. And for us, the working definition of wicked is desire to receive for the self. We all have a little bit. There's definitely examples of it being a lot of it, where it's completely out of balance. And that's where we see serious degradation of humanity. And we see it. So yes, it happens when we degrade ourselves, and it happens when some people in power are degrading actual wide swaths of humanity in the world. Go ahead. Therefore,
there must not be mixing of the holy judgment with the defiled judgment until the defiled judgment is exterminated of itself and causes evil to be lost from the world to come. For the defiled judgment in it causes it to be destroyed.
this is a level of judgment that's standing in the way of the final correction, of, as Peter referred to earlier, of the coming of the Messiah, of this manifestation of the flawless universe in our world, of the death of death, and of the end of pain and suffering. There is a level of judgment that's here that stands in the way. And by the way, our connection to this section is assisting in removing it. Now, you can look on the world and say, oh my God, it's getting more and more negative all the time. I mean, that's a relative term. You study history, there's been plenty of negativity. But there are those that say, listen, as we progress towards the Gemara Tikkun, to the final correction, negativity is becoming more apparent because it needs to be uprooted. It's an interesting metaphor. This article is called When the Wicked Sprout Like Grass. And yet at a certain level, we're talking about uprooting negativity. So do I control that in the world? Well, we do. We are doing it right now by just with this study is assisting us in uprooting negativity from the world. Verse 63. So that I want that, let's make that part of our consciousness. Like, and we talk about it when we set our intention at the beginning, removing negativity from the world. That's literally what we're doing in this sense, in this study. 63. And again, this is what Rabbi Abba, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Chizkiah, we're doing. That's what they were doing. And so the fact that they did it and put it out there and it's now available for us in the Zohar is a prime example of them making this available for us to do now. 63. B'tach v'yamar b'furach v'sha'im k'mo eseb yatzitzu kol polei aden lihishamda adei ad haikra ukmuha aval tachazei b'furach v'sha'im k'mo eseb kahai izbad di'iu b'visho de'ara di'iu yivesha kad sharan be'maya afriach ve'hu yivishu it parach u'chahai ilan akatzitza denatzitz v'lad salik ele inun pe'orot Tar da v'listar da di'inun anfin desalkin u'almin la salik ilana kadava b'kadmeta l'meheve ilana v'chal da l'hisham dam adei ad itkra lon misharashin umikola. Before we read the English, we are right now, it's the Sabbath tonight, it's Shabbat. And one of the, when we are connecting to Shabbat, and again, our teachers say the energy of Shabbat is already infusing our realm when we pass midday on Friday. So that energy is already becoming available to us. And we want to be also set an intention for that, to connect to that energy as it becomes stronger, as its infusion becomes stronger as we approach candlelighting. And then from candlelighting on for the next 25 hours, we want to be connected to that energy of Shabbat, because that is the energy of Gan Eden, of the Garden of Eden, of the flawless universe. We have a time once a week to connect to this energy where mercy has the advantage over judgment. And so this is another construct of our world. And knowing it gives us a better ability to, again, navigate life. Because as we connect to the energy of Shabbat, we're connected to the energy that we want to use in the week to come to remove chaos in the week to come. It's like every 7 days we get an opportunity to recharge our positivity batteries, because we're all, we are being confronted by negativity. And so we need to do the things that we can do. Self-care, connection to positivity. We over the next, with Shabbat, we need to connect to as much positivity as possible. Not only for ourselves, but because the world needs it. And those of us who have a consciousness that we can connect, we need to be making that connection because the world needs us to make that connection to channel in that energy of positivity. Okay, Ellen, 63.
He opened the discussion and said, when the wicked sprout like grass, and when all the workers of iniquity flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever.
What? Okay, so that's a verse from Tehillim, from Psalms. Well, when the negativity is flourishing, it's so that they can be destroyed forever. So this is a different perspective on why there's negativity in the world. Go ahead.
This verse was explained. Nevertheless, come and see, the wicked sprout like grass, means just as grass on dry land becomes dry, and when it is given water, it blooms and the dryness disappears.
It doesn't die. It's like, we see it in wintertime, like grass just goes into like hibernation. They don't call it hibernation, another word for it, but it's still there. It's still alive. Go ahead.
Like a cut tree, when it flourishes again, grows only side branches growing upwards, but never a whole tree as was before, namely the workers of iniquity flourish, and all that happens, so they shall be destroyed forever. That is, they will be severed from their root and from everything else.
And this kind of goes back. So what the Zohar is telling us, the reason why we see negativity is because we need to see it, to uproot it. It has to manifest in order to be removed. And this is not only on a global level, it's on our level also. And part of the benefit we're getting here is seeing our own negativity. Because when we can see it, we can uproot it. And so going back to what Ron was saying before, and I was saying before, it's like you need to be with that pain. You need to be with it so you can uproot it. But not so much that we let it flourish and we let it take over. Verse
You did it?
Yes.
Oh, no, go ahead. We're just real quickly, as I'd like to do the food analogies, right? There's by us seeing the negativity, we have a chance to clean it out, right? So I think of, when you make your own stock, if you put it in the fridge the next day, the fat is all risen to the top. You can clean it out, right? That's, we're saying, but that's where we take control and clean it out.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take one more. The Chayavaya Bahai Alma, Beginta Ha Alma, Ilchulaka de Sitra Achara, the Alma de Ate, Iu Sitra de Ktusha, the Yuchulaka de Tzadikaya, the Meve Tzadikaya, Inun Ba'atara, Dikra de Ma Rehon Be, Utrain Citrin Elaine, Kaimin da Lakavel da Sitra de Kutsha, the da Sitra Achara de Misa'ava, da Kaima le Tzadikaya, the da Kaima de Rashi Aya, the Chula de Lakavel da, Zakain Inun Tzadikaya, the late lon chulaka b'hai alma el ba'alma da'ate.
There is yet another secret in this, why the Holy One, blessed be He, is long-suffering with the wicked in this world. It is because this world is a portion of the other side, and the world to come is part of the side of holiness, and the portion of the righteous where they will be adorned by the crown of the glory of their Master.
So there's two sides to this world that we have. That's the point. Go ahead.
These two sides stand the one against the other, the world to come, the side of holiness, and this world, the other side of defilement.
That's the thing. This is ego. Our world has this body consciousness, this desire to receive for the self, as opposed to the desire to receive for the sake of sharing. Go ahead.
This is destined for the righteous and that for the wicked. And all this corresponds to all that. Happy are the righteous who have no part in this world, but in the world to come.
And this is what we're connecting to. We're connecting to the world to come, which we know is the level of Binah, which is the reservoir of fulfillment, which is the flawless universe. And so through this study today, we're rooting out the negativity. We're rooting out the other side and helping to facilitate a new world it's not so new, but a world of love, of understanding, of unconditional love, of treating everyone with human decency, and ultimately, Bilamavel and Netzach, the death of death and the end of pain and suffering in our world. Okay. Thank you all. Shabbat Shalom. Love you all. Thanks for joining
Shabbat
us.
Thank
shalom.
you. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.